Slimehouse TV, myself, Theo Kane, shouts to everybody that's locked in, the Slime Alliance, the Slime Renegades, Team Z, and everyone else that's supporting. So we just got back from the NEC Toy Fair at Birmingham, an event that from this day onwards will always be etched in my memory, for good reasons and for bad. We had some highs, we had some lows, but it was definitely an awesome event, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. Let's do this! So as always, we paid the early bird entry and got there for about 8 AM, set up our cameras and my microphone and started attacking the first few rows while everybody was setting up and getting ready for a big day of vintage toy selling. And as expected, straight away there was a bunch of awesome stuff on offer. One thing that really caught my eye from early on was a full set of figures from the toy line The Shadow. This is a line with some really cool looking villains that are based on East Asian ancient Khan culture. And the main guy, The Shadow, is actually a character that goes all the way back to the 1930s, first featuring in radio series and early comic books at the time. These figures though were made by Kenner and came out in the early 90s, around 94, so they've got that whole Kenner 90s vibe going on, real colourful neon coloured card backs. They also had a really cool figure commercial that came out around that time. The villains also have some really cool armour pieces that click onto them, and overall they're just a toy line that just reek that early 90s aesthetic that most people that watch this channel are going to love as much as I do. So not a line that I'm immediately in the market for, but very cool to see them all there, carded and mint, pretty much a full line with the vehicles as well. I also found a bunch of loose Toxic Crusaders vehicles. Now these are things that I really do need to complete my Toxic Crusaders collection. I've got all the figures pretty much complete, but I don't really have any of the vehicles complete, and if I'm ever going to do a video essay on them, I need to eventually pick these up. This guy had a real nice set of most of the vehicles, but they were incomplete, and if I'm going to get these for a video that I want to do a future video essay on, I need to get them in their entirety with all the pieces. So I did think about picking these up, but I thought, you know what, I'll leave them for someone else to collect and keep looking around the fair and see if there's anything else that takes my fancy. I then got talking to a cool guy who actually lives in Japan, and him and his friend had a stall that was full of henshin cyborg stuff, both English and Japanese. If you've watched my channel for any number of years, then you'll know how much I love Japanese culture and vintage Japanese toys. I've been out to Tokyo several times toy hunting and documenting the journey on this channel, and one of my favourite things to collect in regards to vintage Japanese toys are shonen cyborg figures. And what was nice about the stuff that these guys had on their stall is that they wasn't just the smaller shonen cyborg figures that you see quite often. He had some of the bigger Japanese henshin cyborg variants, including a full-size subform. Absolutely awesome. He also had some more modern stuff from the more Kamen Rider Decade era. And I say modern, but that stuff's like 2009 now. It's well over 10 years old, so it's not even that modern anymore. But he had a real nice Kamen Rider V3, my favourite Kamen Rider. He also had a couple of figures of a character called Udespa from a Japanese tokusatsu TV show that I like called Inzuman. Two figures that could have quite easily come home with me and ended up in my collection. one thing that I do have to address before I get any deeper into this video is that when it came to this show, this NEC April show, I was on a very strict budget. I've got a lot of big events that I'm covering over the next few weeks, including ToyCon down in London at the end of the month and Doncaster Toy Fair next week. So for this NEC event, I was going to have to watch my cash more than ever. So what this meant is that I had to go into this show with a very different mind frame to what I'm normally used to having, looking out for a lot more cheap and cheerful pieces than what I'm normally out on the hunt for. Stuff that's awesome and good for the collection and good for future videos, but not stuff that's going to break the bank and nothing that's going to keep me awake at night.
Looks like the crocodile took a bite out of it.
He said, yeah, don't buy it just yet. Have a walk about. Gone back, it's gone.
How much, like 15 quid?
Nah, like 30.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Must have gone up since I last looked.
Well, this isn't the main one. They were all 35. He said he bought them from a guy in America.
Did he have a bunch?
He's still got 2 left,
Oh.
but I wanted this one.
Yeah, I like the minifigures they come with. That one of those movies that they're like at the time and had the most money spent on it and were like the biggest flop.
Yeah, but it's actually...
Mad Max on water. It's a fire movie, yeah,
it's
I think.
It's a cult classic now. Yeah, it's tough.
Have some fun with that one, Bentlegs.
Seen some things.
Seen some shit.
Not by his eyes.
You love all them, don't you? Them like old British icons. Ed the Duck, Gordon the Gopher, Dusty Bin, all the big hitters. Beautiful, them. I think I found my first purchase. So I got him the other day. Where I'm going to pick this guy up. Because that's the other half.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, my friend Ryan out in Australia sent me a parcel, and in that was an action figure called Nitro from the Robocop and the Ultra Police toy line. And I really liked the figure. They're also pretty cheap and you do see them around quite often, so I told myself if I spotted any at the NEC, I would pick them up and add them to the collection. So I spotted a guy who's a regular at the NEC, and on his stall he had quite a few of the other characters from the line. So I decided to go with Headhunter. I thought he'd look cool displayed next to his old pal Nitro when I put a little shelf together in the future, a nice little Robocop shelf. So he was only £15, which to me is a no-brainer, a nice cheap and cheerful purchase and a prime example of the kind of thing that I was looking out for.
Oh, can I have a look? Look at that.
It does work, I think.
Let you pull it.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Guerra de la Galaxias. Nice one. Thank you for showing me, dude.
Right.
You have a good day.
Another YouTube video.
Oh, nice one, bro. Respect, bro.
How you doing, you alright?
Yeah, you, mate.
At the moment.
Chrome dome.
Yeah, look pretty legit.
Oh, it's nice, that. All these bits.
Yeah.
I would have, I think I'd have swiped at me, son.
To be fair, some other kid was like, got his eyes all over it.
Yeah, they will do.
Quick.
Well, then galleons always remind me of Mr. Bean when his friend buys him one at Christmas. And he buys her a picture of 2 people with a ring. Yeah, classic.
My next purchase was 2 figures that I was actually really happy with. Now, I've been wanting to put together a little reboot collection for some time now. I mentioned it in the recent Doorway to Darkness video. They're a toy line that you do see around pretty cheap, often around the £15–20 mark, so when I found 2 at £12.50 each, they were also a no-brainer to pick up. Like I said, I've been wanting to put a collection of these together for a while, but never quite pulled the trigger on it, so this is a perfect little introduction into that line, and one that I'd definitely like to do a big video essay episode on at some point. He also had a nice hook figure as well that was a pretty decent price, and I was tempted to get that because I've also been putting together a little hook collection, but I thought I'll leave that and I'll see what the other tables have got on them, because at this point we're not even a quarter of the way around the fair. like I said, at this particular event, I was very much watching my cash. There's been times before I've gone to the NEC before where I've sold a load of stuff on eBay and I've gathered money together just in case I see something incredible. This was definitely not one of those times. This time I was definitely on a budget. So you can imagine how much of a gut punch it was when I went round the corner and literally stood face to face with one of my most wanted holy grails of all time.
This is something that's been on my holy grail list for years. I've never seen one in person. Seeing it in person now, it's so much bigger than I thought. It's my mate's stall, so he told me we're going to bring some good stuff today, he weren't lying. That's insane. It's like it fits on the front of a gumball machine. And I've never seen one in person, the Monster gumball machine cover. They do this, a robot, and another one. So I've no idea how he's got that in this country, but Jesus, that's impressive. That's one that's been on my grail list for a long, long, long time. Not that I'd have a clue what to do with it, but how cool is that, man?
I honestly almost shit a brick when I saw this thing. It took my breath away. I've been looking at these things online for absolutely years. I've mentioned them multiple times in videos saying that I wanted to try and get hold of one. And then I'm stood looking at one, and honestly it was a little bit surreal. The word Holy Grail gets thrown around quite a lot, but when I call this thing a Holy Grail, I really don't say it lightly. I've never even seen one in this country, and honestly, to my mind, I think this is the only one that's ever been on British soil. Now, this was on the stall of my friend Ian, and I'd seen him earlier that morning, and he said, Theo, when you've got a minute, come over to my stall before it's too busy, because I've got some things that you're going to like. And he certainly wasn't wrong. This is a guy that always brings real high-end, real sought-after stuff, but at this particular event, he'd absolutely outdone himself.
We're going to go have a look at Ian's Monster gumball machine cover, because I can't get it out of my head. He even told me the price that he wants for it, and it's not a bad price. It's just, I ain't really got the money to be spending right now, but it's like a once-in-a-lifetime offer, so it's like, I don't know.
It's amazing. I know, everyone keeps saying that. It's insane,
Everyone's
isn't it?
jerking off over it. Yeah. Can understand.
It's nice, isn't it?
Well, when I saw it, I goes, that'll be the only one that's ever been in this country. And I never knew how big it were. I thought it were like this big, like a CRT telly you could put it on.
It's insane though, isn't it?
I love it. Is it heavy?
No, it's feather.
Like, is it just fiberglass?
And the plastic, do you know what like motocross bikes are like?
Yeah.
The mass plastic on a motocross bike is really strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that, I don't know what it is, it's that vinyl, you know that plastic, it just
like
don't break.
polyurethane or something,
Yeah, don't break, you know the one that don't break. Go in there, have a look and squeeze it, you know.
I don't squeeze it too hard.
No, it won't break, honestly, it's so
No, it's like a Wendy house, it's like a little Tykes car. Yeah.
That sort of unbreakable sort of thing, you know.
What's it say on the back there?
It's got this like, maker's name on there, I think.
Cheers for letting me look anyway, Ian.
Yeah, no worries.
You have a good day, mate.
Yeah, I'll pass this out.
Now bear in mind, this is not a toy. This is just a big cover that fits on the front of a gumball machine. There's 3 in the set, but the Monster is the coolest one, and I've been looking at these online and dreaming about having one for years. In America, they're not that rare. You do see people come across them. I've seen people in videos at flea markets holding up multiples, but never in England. Seeing one of these on British soil is unheard of. As you can imagine, I really, really wanted this thing. I don't think I've ever seen anything anywhere in any shop or any toy fair other than when I saw the Great Garloo that I've wanted as much as I wanted this thing. And Ian offered me a really good price on it, but I just couldn't afford what he wanted for it at this particular toy fair. Like I said, I was on a budget. There's been times when I've been to this toy fair where I could have bought it, I would have snatched it up, but at this particular toy fair, I just didn't have the money to pay for it. It was so cool, it was so much bigger in real life than I ever thought it would be, and just being able to stand next to one and see one up close and film it and see the grain on it and the material that it was made from was amazing, but I can't lie and say it wasn't absolutely gutting having to walk away from it. Honestly, for like the next 40 minutes, I walked around just miserable, but I just had to accept that I couldn't afford it and I had to walk away from it and try and forget that it existed, as hard as that was, and still is. And probably will continue to be for years to come. So it's safe to say that after that, I was walking around a little bit deflated. Everything just kind of seemed a bit insignificant at that point, but one thing that did cheer me up and did put a smile on my face was seeing lots of my friends there, including the Toy Division podcast boys. I was recently on their podcast, I've been on it multiple times, they're very good guys, they're big supporters of everything that I do here at Slimehouse TV, and are very much friends of the channel. They're also like a staple of the NEC at this point. Every time I go to this event, these guys are always right in the middle of it, and it's always a joy to chat toys with them. Now, one of those guys, Dan Plastic, said that he had a gift for me, and I've been intrigued to know what it was ever since he mentioned it when I was last on their podcast. Him and his girlfriend are the people that recently got me that Robin Hood Prince of Thieves film crew jacket that I posted on my Instagram. They always come across good stuff, and I was very excited to see what he'd brought for me. He also told me that what he got from it was less of a gift and more like a problem that he wanted to unburden himself with and then hand over to me, which had me even more intrigued. Now, I don't know who made this and I don't know what its backstory is. It definitely doesn't look official, but he knows that I'm a big fan of the movie Basket Case by Frank Henenlotter. I even rocked a Basket Case pin badge on my hat that morning randomly. It's almost like this thing was destined to come home with me and live at my house. Basket Case is a crazy trilogy of 80s movies directed by a guy called Frank Henenlotter, the same guy that made Brain Damage. It's a mad monster movie full of crazy creature designs and weird gore effects, and it's one that I'm a big fan of, and Dan obviously knows that. So this was a really thoughtful gift for him to pass to me.
Look at that. Stick him in there. I appreciate you thinking of me.
No, mate, like...
I love the fact that you saw that and thought my face.
It does need a little bit of a repair on its finger, but Dan also knows that I've got the know-how to sculpt a new one and restore it, so it's something that I'll probably feature in a future video. I also met a guy called Colin, who is a big TMNT collector and likes real high-end mint-on-card stuff. This is the guy that sold all those Ninja Turtles to Robbo that I featured in the last NEC video, and he told me that he wanted me to come around the corner with him because he had something cool to show me. Now, in any other scenario, this would probably sound very ominous, but at a toy fair, it usually means that somebody's got some gold to show you. And boy, did Colin have some gold on him.
Whatever jumps out. Yeah, beautiful. Is it like a full set of military?
One's 90, one's 85.
You might as well have a bag full of cash.
These are sold not here, but I'm just bringing them to show the guys before they leave my collection.
Yeah, just to show them.
Because I collect 90s toys, so from my age, I'm 60, people don't realise I'm a 90s collector. I should be more 70s.
Yeah, but you're just into the later
Don't
stuff.
like it. I
Yeah.
just like the 90s stuff.
You like what you like, yeah. It's early 90s though, isn't it, this stuff? It's like very early 90s. Oh, look at that. Don't see him very often carded with all these bits. Oh, I have a feeling what direction this little hole's going to be going. Going half court. Look at that. And what else we got? I'm predicting a cat and a dog coming up.
This is the one I want you. This is the one I want you to hold because you said you never held one.
I haven't held one, not like that. And I'm going to appreciate it, not on camera as well. Yeah, with tube and everything, it's just unheard of, isn't it?
Right, those three that I've just got out cost me $2.99.
Oh, back in the day?
Back in the day,
yeah.
Toys R Us in Chatham. We used to have 50 quid a month, go to Chatham, and I'd buy them in the cheap bins.
Yeah.
And they were on sale. And I just
because they were the last run, weren't they? They were ones like when it's on its way out.
So that's the last of my $2.99 stuff that I'm selling.
Oh, look at this. This is in a harder case than the other ones.
Yeah. Seen one before?
No. I have now.
Do you want to hold it?
May I? Is that okay?
As long as you don't drop it.
No, I won't drop it.
So yeah, this is a guy that obviously loves that real high-end TMNT stuff, and it was awesome to see him pulling out so many heavy hitters, just one after the other. He also had a random mint vinyl cape Jawa just tucked away in his top pocket and pulls it out and shows me just casual, like absolute G shit. Another guy that was also there that I've also always got a lot of time for and enjoy talking collecting with and content creation is Retro Ghetto. So Retro Ghetto is the guy behind one of my favourite YouTube channels. He's someone that, like me, always tries to go the extra mile when he's creating his videos, go a bit further with the editing, and always tries to think of new and interesting ideas to put into his episodes. When it comes to retro video games and knowing that market, his knowledge is second to none. And when it comes to going out hustling and charity shop hunting and making videos about that kind of content, there really is not many other people that are on par with him. So it was awesome to link up with him and talk a bit about YouTube production and that kind of thing, and definitely somebody that you should be following if you enjoy that kind of content. He's also somebody that I've been talking to for a while about maybe doing a collaboration with in the future, so that's definitely something that's on the cards, and I'd love to know from people down in the comments below if that's something that they'd like to see from us both in the future. He also passed me a bag of random toy pieces and bits that I can use in a possible future diorama, so shouts to my guy for that as well, because that was awesome. Another dude that was awesome to bump into was Retro Pursuit. This is a guy that I know through Instagram, and also by the looks of things is the dude that's been hoarding away every single My Pet Monster in England. He had some real nice pieces on his stall, and he also gifted me a little squirting mad ball and a point of sale sign that would have been used in one of the gumball machines where they were sold. So shouts to Retro Pursuit for that was very cool of him. So the next purchase I made was from one of my friend's stalls, Lawrence, aka Toy Planet UK. This is a guy that always has a stall of real dope stuff, and he's always someone that I like talking toys with when I see him at the NEC. Walking away from that Hook figure earlier must have stayed with me a little bit, so when I saw one for sale on Lawrence's stall, you know that I had to pull the trigger on it. Across from Lawrence was another very good friend of mine, Tom from Pizarro's Pieces, always selling dope stuff. Doesn't always do the NEC, but when he does, he always brings that fire. He's off to Tokyo in a couple of weeks doing his first ever Japan toy buying trip, so he was selling a few of his wares, just trying to raise a bit of extra cash, a bit of much needed cash if you're going out to Tokyo. So shouts to my guy, I hope he has a really good time. I know he's going to enjoy it, and yeah man, I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings back.
Yeah, nice for a set of 6. 100 quid all in. No.
Toys R Us was also there. He's another fellow YouTuber that knows everything there is to know about Transformers. When it comes to Transformers toys, this guy's knowledge is something to behold. Him and his boys had a bunch of awesome Transformers there, including some real nice Japanese stuff and some interesting larger than normal scale bootleg mini bots that were definitely drawing a lot of eyes when he brought them out to show me.
Nice to know we're not running low on Castle Grayskull.
It was also nice to see Raiders of the Loft toys. This is a guy that I always see at these events and he always shows me respect. And he was also very keen to show me his friend Mark Potter's photography, a dude who, very much like myself, obviously must love toy photography and building dioramas. So I said that I'd give him a little shout out in the video because it's always nice to see people repping their friends. I always think it's really cool to see people cheerleading their friends' artwork and businesses and that kind of thing. I really don't think we see enough of it, so when anybody does that, I always rate it. It's one of the reasons why I'm always such an advocate for shouting out other people and other toy collectors and other YouTubers, because I really don't think we see enough of it, and I think it's really important to support each other when people are trying to do a thing. It was also really cool to bump into Vintage Toy Rush. We've spoke a lot online but never actually met in person. I didn't know that it was going to be there, so it was quite a pleasant surprise. This is a guy that has his own YouTube channel where he reviews toys and restores old toys. He's a Slime Renegade member, and he's also got one of the coolest Coleco Rambo collections that I've ever seen. So it was really cool to just make his acquaintance in person and give him his flowers and tell him how much I enjoy his YouTube content. So at this point, we'd been there a few hours, we'd seen everything that we needed to see, and we were starting to wrap up and just say our goodbyes and that kind of thing. And I was just talking to one of my regular friends that I see at the toy fair when I was approached by a dude called Daz. So this guy said that he followed me on YouTube and he wanted to come and say hello because he knew that I was going to be here because I mentioned it in a previous video. But not only did he want to just say hello and just show some respect, he also brought me a bag of old vintage stuff to say thank you for all of the YouTube content that I'd given him over the years. Now, whenever anybody does anything like this, it's always very heartwarming. It's just nice when somebody comes up and says, respect for you, I've seen your videos, keep up the good work. Even that makes my day. But for somebody to go out of their way and actually bring me a bag full of gifts to the toy fair just because they've seen my YouTube videos really does mean a lot to me.
But it's just awesome.
Nightmare Fuel.
I did if you'd seen that. It's basically...
No, I don't have it. Yeah, I know the film, I just don't have it. No, I know it though, because I used to watch that in school.
Because I don't have a VHS player.
Oh, nice one, bro.
Up in the loft for years.
And the gifts that he brought me were very thoughtful. He brought me an old Japanese mech magazine. He brought me a bunch of Tick Madcaps and Taco Bell exclusive American toys that you would only get if you went to Taco Bell in the 90s and ordered the Tick Happy Meal, their equivalent of a Happy Meal. He even had the bag inside that the kids' meal would come in. Like, nothing that I've got and nothing that I would ever think to pick up. But now that I've got them, I'm looking at them and I'm like, yo, these are awesome. He brought me some little Kenner Swamp Thing accessories for the collection of them that I'm putting together. And he also brought me some real cool VHS as well. Included an old Canon Jim Henson puppet movie called Dream Child. And volume 1 and 2 of an old Jim Henson TV show called Storyteller.
Fuck me, that there shit me up right bad as a kid.
One of the best.
I was at my cousin's and I come downstairs and it was just on and I just saw just that and I was like, what the fuck, I'm like 3-year-old. It's like a room full of them. Someone puts like a candlelight on in a basement and there's about 50 of them. Yeah. These red things. Oh, that's a minter. I'm going to watch that. I don't think you can get that on a Blu-ray or out.
Now, this is a TV show that as a kid is permanently embedded in my brain as nightmare fuel. I randomly caught this little part of an episode called The Soldier and Death when I was little, like 4 years old at my cousin's house. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago that I even found out what it was that I saw. This guy lights a candle in a dark room and when it lights the room up, it was full of all these little red devils. And as a kid, it like proper scared me. And like I said, it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I even found out what it was.
Yeah, there's a few like old adverts and stuff in there.
Wicked.
It's a vintage kind of thing, so you might think. So that was it really. I thought I need to
Thank you, Dazatron.
Dazatron.
Respect, bro. Thank you. Nice one for reaching out. Cheers.
So yeah, mad shouts to that guy Daz and everybody else that come and brought me a gift to the NEC, because you really don't need to do it, but I always really do love it when you do. I would be lying if I said I didn't like receiving cool gifts from people. You don't have to do it, but if you have got something that you think I would love, then it definitely does make my day. So that's kind of everything that we got up to at the NEC. I didn't pick up anything that was worth raving about, but the things I did get were all very awesome. I do obviously really wish that I could have brought home that Monster Gumball cover. I've honestly never seen anything in person that I wanted so bad and wasn't able to bring it home with me. But sometimes the planets just don't align. Hopefully I'll get one in the future, but right now it just wasn't possible. Now, something else that I wanted to talk about in this video, and I wasn't going to do it because one, it's not really any of my business, and also it's a bit of a downer, but I really wanted to speak about it because it was playing on my mind, so here goes. Basically, when I got back from the Toy Fair, I was checking Instagram and I saw a post from Robo Toys saying that at some point during the day while his back was turned, somebody robbed a Thundercat complete jogger off his stall. Now, I'm just going to say it right off the bat. If you're at a Toy Fair robbing stuff off a trader's stall, then you're an absolute scumbag. People that stand at these fairs, they do it as either a part-time business or they do it as a full-time hustle, like it's their main job. So robbing stock off their stall is the equivalent of like robbing a workman's tools out of his van. Doing these toy fairs is a lot of graft. You have to get up at like 4-5 AM in the morning and load your car or your van up and then go and haul all these boxes into the venue and then set up all your stall and deal with a busy environment, talking to people all day on your feet. And the last thing you want to do is think that somebody might be robbing off your stall when you're not looking. I remember Lawrence from Toy Planet UK telling me a few months ago that he had some stuff robbed from his stall at the NEC, and that pissed me off. Robbing from independent sellers or independent traders is just some sideman scumbag shit. That's some wasteman shit, so please don't be bringing that energy to the Toy Fair. The Toy Fairs are a really cool place full of a lot of cool people that are just trying to do a thing, so we can all collectively agree that if you're a dirty little thief, you're not welcome at the Toy Fair. Stealing at the Toy Fair is not a vibe, so don't do it. On a lighter note, I do want to say thanks again to everybody that came up and said hello to me at the Toy Fair and showed me ratings and said how much they loved the Slimehouse channel. Recently, it's been harder than ever for me to bring out this regular, like, big production content, so when people come up to me and tell me how much they enjoy it, it really does boost me to keep on going. A couple of days ago as well, I put out a new video talking about changes on my Patreon and stuff like that, and we've had some new people join since then, so I wanted to give them a shout out. So first off, I want to say shout out to Nick Tildesley. He joined the Slime Renegades tier. Much respect to that, mate. Thank you very much. Big up to Samantha Raven, she joined the Slime Alliance. Shouts out to Daniel Carter and also Daniel Twiper. I hope I said your name right, I really do apologise if I didn't. They're two people that joined the Slime Alliance but with a higher donation than what was required to join that tier, so thank you so much, that really does go a long way. Shouts out to Johnny Bones, another guy that also joined the Slime Alliance, much respect, I really do appreciate it. I also want to say a big thank you to Kit McBride, Matt Crosslin, Jesse James and Ace Back, who've all joined the new Team Z tier. And I also want to say a big thank you to Ricardo Lacombe, who is our first official Slimehouse executive producer. There's an executive producer tier now on my Patreon, and Ricardo is the first person to sign up to that. So shouts to Ricardo every single time. I really, really do appreciate your support. Always, brother. If you also want to help Slimehouse and help me keep making these projects as regular as possible, then head over to patreon.com/SlimehouseTV. There's a few different tiers on there. And whether it's a lower tier or a higher tier that you sign up for, it all really does help me keep this channel going. I also want to shout out a couple of people that have given one-off donations to Slimehouse. Recently, I added a button to the bottom of my videos where you can send a one-off donation to help support the channel. So firstly, I want to shout out to Daniel Carter, again a Slime Alliance member that's also sent a donation as well, so big ups brother, I really do see the support and I appreciate it. And also Alan Sang, who came through with a very generous donation, one that will definitely be put towards a future project, and I know exactly which future project it's going to be put towards. So again, if you're feeling like you want to support Slimehouse, there's a few ways you can do that. You can join the Patreon, or you can click the button below and send a one-off donation. There's other ways you can help support Slimehouse as well. Share this video around your favourite toy group, ask anybody else if they spotted themselves in the background of the video, just get people watching it, share it around your friends and anybody else that might enjoy this content. And also just give this video a like and comment down below. Interaction always helps get these videos put better onto the algorithm. So let me know your thoughts on the video down below. Let me know your thoughts on any of the things that we talked about in this video. Did you see anything in the background that you would have not been able to leave the NEC without coming home with? Let me know down in the comments below. Let's get talking. We've got a real good community here on Slimehouse TV. Some real good people that all like to talk toys. So if you want to talk toys with like-minded individuals, down below in the comments of a Slimehouse video is the place to do it. I again want to say a massive thank you to everybody that supports Slimehouse, everybody that came up to me at the NEC and said hello. Like I said, I've got lots of other events that I'm covering over the next few months, so keep a lookout for those videos. And if this is your first time at the channel, introduce yourself down below, let me know who you are, where you're from and what you collect, and don't forget to go back and binge the back catalogue, because chances are there's a ton of other content that you'll enjoy here as well. In the meantime, I'm going to catch you in the next video. I look forward to it. I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, and until then, I'm gone. Pow!